Today, we're going to be talking about PITCHfest, which is a fantastic program where we'll have 10 finalists come up and really have 5 minutes to pitch their innovative product or service. Before we get into the details of that, I want to take a second to do a couple of things. So first, as many of you are aware, we had a fantasy domaining contest, which we started about a month ago. And in that fantasy domaining contest, we made 1,000 domains available to anybody that wanted to participate. I think we had as much as 20 or 25% of all the participants participate in the contest. They got to pick 35 different names, and at the end, we decided who was the best domainer. So what I'm happy to share with everybody is Edwin Sherman, who unfortunately could not be here today because of a last-minute personal change in schedule, is our winner. He will get a trophy that looks just like this sent to him, but he is our fantasy domainer winner. Edwin had a unique strategy. What he did was he got in very early, identified the names that he liked, put them on the bullpen list, and then waited until the very end. So there was a lot of activity between all the other contestants in terms of changing their names around, trying to jockey for the best position. But on the last day, he moved all of his best names from the bullpen list to his active list and shot up the leaderboard from out of nowhere and ended up winning the contest. So congratulations to Edwin. Now, let's talk about PITCHfest. Before we do that, I would like to take a second and have the judges go ahead and introduce themselves. First, I'll start with John.
John Morris, very active here in Los Angeles as an angel investor with the Tech Coast Angels. I'm also a CEO chair with Vistage International.
And Scott?
Hi, Scott Jarus. I am also a Tech Coast Angel, active in Los Angeles. I currently do turnarounds of broken companies, sometimes public companies. Currently working with one Ironclad Performance Wear, which makes technical task-specific work gloves, but my main background is 30 years in telecommunications. The last big home run for me was a company called eFax, fax to email, which we turned into $1 billion successful company.
Thank you. And Andries?
Andries de Villiers. I'm a New York-based guy, thankful to be out here in LA with the much nicer weather, although you guys think it's cold, apparently. Work for a company called Ad Marketplace. I'm the vice president there, and we're in the PPC advertising space and partnered with a lot of guys here, and excited to see the contestants.
Okay, and Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff Cohn. I am a small publisher. Spent the last 10 years consulting in the angel investment world, the venture capital world, and also spent a short time at doing some corporate development consulting for overseas as well. So I've got a broad spectrum of experience there.
Okay. Well, as you can see, we have a very experienced set of panelists, and we're thankful and grateful for you to join us, so thanks. Let me tell you a little bit about how PITCHfest will work. So we had 22 submissions overall, and we selected 9 finalists. These finalists will each have 5 minutes to make their presentation. The way it's going to work is they're going to come up here. They will have those 5 minutes. At the 4-minute mark, there will be a bell signaling 1 minute left. At the end of the session, the screen will go blank. So you'll see the screens on both sides. They will go blank. At that point, we'll ask that finalist to walk into the back. The judges will have 1 minute to write down their scores, and then we'll tee up the next finalist. So we'll have rapid fire presentations through those 9 finalists. At the end of that, we'll take all of the scores from the judges. We'll have somebody in the back start to tally those up. And then while we're waiting for that, we will ask this group, each of them, kind of their 3 tips. What do they recommend what do they recommend you do when you have to make an elevator pitch? And then there'll be a few minutes for some Q&A after that, and then we'll go ahead and announce the winners. So it should be a really exciting contest, and I think we'd like to go ahead and get started with our first finalist, Jake Ackerman, and his company is Zipsmart.com. Zipsmart.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, panel, pleasure to be here today. And everybody who's looking to make more money from the domain names that they have. I'm excited for the opportunity to present Zipsmart and show you how you can make more money on the domain properties that you have by partnering with us by selling zips, not clicks. There are about 42,000 zip codes in the United States. 9,000 of those are government or special commercial zip codes. I've heard that the Empire State Building has its own zip code. That leaves 33,000 zip codes in America that are the zip codes where you and I lay down our heads at night and go to sleep in. If you could sell each zip code on your website for just $10, that would be $330,000 per month. $10 a month for a zip code, that would be $330,000 per month. What if you could sell a zip code on your website for $20 or $50 a month? That's what Zipsmart does. The names that we are looking for and the industries that work best for the companies, for what we target, are names where there is a physical, where the product or service requires you to be physically present. So a name like laptops.com we don't have much use for, but a name like furnacerepair.com or landscaping.com, you can't really get your landscaping delivered to you over the internet, and so those are perfect names for what we do. The customer receives a lot of value for what we do because the customers who purchase zip codes from us get total zip code exclusivity, meaning instead of a directory where they're just placed at the top, they own the zip code and they're the only company that shows up in their zip code. That gives them the aggregate benefit of branding, all of the search engine marketing, the SEO that we do as a company, etc. We talk to a lot of customers nationwide that say, you know, I used to hate the yellow pages, but now I have to have a Twitter account, a blog, be writing content, managing Facebook pages, those kinds of things. And for me as a business owner, I'm a plumber, that's a real pain. I wish we could go back to when it was just the yellow pages. And we solve that problem for the business owner. Here's an example of Zipsmart, of a Zipsmart website that's currently functioning. If you go to Google right now and you type in furnace repair, we're showing up on page 1. We're also, because of our technology, showing up on page 1 of Google for the keyword furnace repair, plus about 10,000 municipalities and cities. This example is furnace repair in Plano, Texas. We're showing up furnace repair plus the geo keyword, the municipal names and those kinds of things, county names, etc. Now, because we sell zips, not clicks, we've completely abandoned the selling click approach, and our clients love this. What's displayed here on the screen is an example of yellowpages.com that also sells to the same advertisers that we sell to. If you go to yellowpages.com homepage, there's about 1 million, you know, the places that Yellow Pages is trying to drive clicks to because that's what they sell. I mean, you just don't know where you're clicking or what you're looking at. Whereas if you go to a Zipsmart-driven website, it's very simple. You can enter your city or zip, and quickly, in one click, you're navigated directly to our advertiser. And for those who are paying for their zip codes, they get exclusivity. We have, our technology is patent pending as of 2 days ago. And our pricing is based on a fixed price can be based on a fixed price per zip, like $10 per month per zip or $50. It can also be based upon the idea that not all zip codes are created equal. A zip code with 30,000 in population and a household income of $30,000 a year might not be worth as much as an 18,000 population and a household income of $90,000 a year. And our technology enables us to price those zip codes in real time based upon also the value of the domain or the keyword that's being purchased. We have a sales force right now of 60 reps on the street calling advertisers directly, and I would love to talk to any of you individually about how selling zips can make you a lot more money than selling clicks. We're here to look for partners. We want to help you. If you've got great names, we want to partner with you. We're interested in finding investors who want to take the names that we own in-house and use those as security. And we're interested in finding clients who have a name that may not be a category killer, but you don't want to reinvent the wheel. And so if you'd like to pay to play, we're also very interested in speaking with you. I appreciate the time, panel. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to meeting all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you, Jake. Panelists, we have 1 minute to go ahead and write down your scores. And while we're waiting for them to do that, Bernard Hicks from AFAA NBC Universal. Next, please.
Thank you, Peter. My name is Bernard Hicks, and I'm here to tell you about Biggest Loser live training. I'm the biggest loser here, so I'm easy to remember. You'll see on the slide here, this guy's a biggest loser. He's proof, along with his friends, that expert motivation, techniques, and advice and peer support actually does help people lose weight. The problem is that there's 1.6 billion people worldwide who need to lose weight. You can't put them all on TV. So we put them in the picture with Biggest Loser live training. Now this slide shows you what we're all about, which is actually helping people to log on with simple webcams, use our proprietary technologies that actually allow them to interact live online with fitness professionals. This gives them motivation from experts, it gives them advice, techniques, and so on, for as little as $10 per hour. They can sign on from just about anywhere. You can even use some of the new mobile devices, so the Fitness Pro can use it at home, or consumers can use it from home as well. We can integrate Nintendo Wii's, Microsoft's Kinect product, and PlayStation Moves, so you can actually have fun working out with your friends in multiple locations. Our business creativity stems from instantly kickstarting millions of viral loops. We have a network of hundreds of thousands of fitness professionals who are already members of our association. We have tens of millions of viewers who watch the show every week. So it's like starting a Facebook or a Twitter, and instead of starting with a group of, in some cases they started with 42 friends, we have literally millions of friends who can help us create these viral loops. Our business creativity also stems from using internet, hardware, and software technologies that help satisfy such a basic need at very low cost, the need to lose weight, look good, and get healthy. Our viability stems from our resources. Our team has built the world's most successful fitness TV show. The Biggest Loser is now available in multiple countries, and tens of millions of people every week watch the show. We've already built the world's largest network of fitness professionals in 73 countries, and we offer them education and certification. We've also built a device company that went from 0 to 150 million valuation in just a few years, and we've been successfully testing this concept over the past 2 years. We're original too. If I stood here 10 years ago and told you we were going to launch a TV show that featured obese people trying to lose weight, you probably would have laughed at us. But that's now in its 11th season with millions of viewers. We've already been issued 3 US patents on our internet-based fitness and exercise software. We're the first to use simple webcams to connect fitness professionals with their clients. We have devices that can actually display in real time how somebody's doing, counting their calories, for example, and transmitting that live over the web. And there's a lot more to come, as you'll see from the last bullet point. We have huge revenue potential. There are 1.6 billion consumers worldwide who need to lose weight. There's tens of thousands of corporations striving to reduce their healthcare costs, and many of those costs are attributable to obese people. There's over 500,000 fitness professionals who need our education and services so that they can interact with their clients from home and earn extra income. We also have a stable of products, everything from $1 wristbands to everything through clothing, through fitness equipment, and even fitness cruises, all under the Biggest Loser brand. We could build $1 billion corporation with this concept worldwide. And if some of you are worried about the recession, a good friend of mine on Sunday was telling me he just sold $50 million worth of tickets to a music concert here in Southern California in 4 days. It shows that if people want to pay, they will pay to do something they really want to do. So today we're up here for the first time unveiling this company, and we're looking for equity and strategic partners to turn this into a billion-dollar corporation. So I'm asking all of you here to help us turn viewers into doers. Thank you.
Tell people in the audience to make sure that they take down notes because they'll let you use their phone via live text voting at the end. You bet. Bernard, thank you very much. So let's go ahead and, while the judges are taking notes on the different finalists, I'd like to remind everybody that you can also take notes, because at the very end, we're going to have a People's Choice Awards, and you will each be given the opportunity to go ahead and vote. So let's go ahead and bring up the next finalist, Matthew Griffith from Higher Help LLC.
Hi, my name is Matt Griffith, and my company actually, we're an incubator, so we basically develop sites into businesses and run them. Higher Help is an idea that I came with. I bought a foreclosure a couple years ago. It was 95% done, but it needed little odds and ends. And I didn't want to pay $100 to a plumber, per hour. I didn't want to pay those rates. Actually, if you have a picture dictionary and look up the word cheap, you'll see my face. So I started posting on Craigslist, and basically had a replacement fence put up for $50. Added lanterns to the end of my driveway for $120 for labor. Guy had to trench it all the way to the garage to the breaker box. Basically, he worked for about $6 or $7 an hour, and he's the one who quoted me the price. Basically, added all of these things to my yard, my backyard for my kids. Had a roof leak that I had repaired on the spur of the moment for $400. The guy was out there with two guys out there all day. Right now, your options are Craigslist or Angie's List. Craigslist is free, but has absolutely no feedback. So you don't know whether you're hiring an axe murderer, convict, whatever. Angie's List costs the consumer money. So you've got to be willing to pay $15 a month to be a member of Angie's List. When I came up with the idea, I also had an elderly father-in-law who really needed someone just to sit with him, and rather than put him in a nursing home. So I thought, well, wow, we could add elder care to this. Somebody, the guy that sits and greets people at Walmart because he's bored and needs something to do because he's retired would be, probably have better luck talking about the old days with my father-in-law who's 90 years old. The idea, though, is that you could hire babysitters, whatever the case may be, and we could put icons beside their names. Like if it's a babysitter, did she have first aid training? We can put a little first aid icon beside her name. A handyman, is he a licensed contractor? We can put that beside his name. If they've gone through a criminal background check, we can put that beside their name. But the idea was to make the site totally free. So that it was free to the consumer, free for the contractor that's actually doing the work. But the idea was that rather than pay some company $100 an hour to do work for you, who's actually hiring somebody for $15 or $20 or $10 an hour to actually do your work, the idea was to actually hire that person yourself and get the discount. And think of it like a social media for contract jobs, because it's all local. All the contractors that are on the site will actually get a profile page. So the babysitter gets a profile page. The pet sitter gets a profile page. So basically, it'd be free to post a work profile, and again, $100 per hour versus $15 an hour or $10 an hour. How it's going to make money is upgrades, sort of like how eBay offers $2 for a bold listing. We'll offer some upgrades that if someone wants to be featured at the top, they can pay for that. We'll also have pay-per-click ads like Facebook. But the idea was that if we operate a free site, sort of like how Facebook does, don't ever imagine being as big as Facebook, but having a free network basically takes away all everybody's disposition about do they join. So it's free to join. And of course, we'll offer third-party services such as the background check, insurance, and some of the past companies we've done have gone off to sell. So this is basically what we do, though. And if anybody's interested in this, we are looking for equity, so you can contact me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Let's pull up the next finalist. The next finalist is Omar Alvarez from Eclat App. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Omar. This is my partner, Tamer. I'm very grateful to be here with our infant company. We are a location-based mobile platform that aims to connect affluent individuals with the high-end businesses that serve them. Our application will alert businesses when our members are open to receiving offers, invitations, or introductions. Essentially, it's a local facilitator of VIP business. Feel that currently high-end businesses lack innovative and non-obtrusive ways to directly engage affluent consumers. Many have perfected their in-store shopping experience, but their online offerings are lagging far behind. These online experiences need to mirror the white glove treatment that is present at their stores. At the same time, affluent individuals are not always aware of the opportunities in their area. So the difference between product research and VIP treatment and just going to a high-end retail business is where Eclat aims to provide some value. You note that 20% of U.S. consumers account for nearly 40% of consumer spending. Of that, 14 million are smartphone users, and the wealthy are actually most interested in online and mobile technology. And since Eclat is actually exclusive communication service, it can be extended to not only U.S. but international affluent markets. Add in that location-based services are actually gaining acceptance now, with Microsoft noting that the adoption pattern might be similar to online banking. There looks to be quite a compelling opportunity for an app for location or for affluent markets. So what about the affluents? What can Eclat provide? Well, they buy with emotion, they demand personal attention, and they enjoy exclusivity. And with Eclat, it's an invitation-only network with membership fees and rules of conduct. Businesses can engage directly with receptive and financially capable consumers, all this with a common understanding of purpose to fulfill mutually beneficial interests. Let me give you an example. So I've landed in LAX for business. I turn on my iPhone, turn on my Eclat app, and I'm now open and available to Eclat users within the radius that I set. My exact location is unknown, but I'm announcing that I'm in the area and open for business. I receive some personalized offers for hotels, invitations to exclusive events, and I'm actually relayed an introduction to a prominent financial analyst. With Eclat, personalized service is paramount. In order to receive any offers or invitations, you need to be introduced to your presenter. This is for the strength and quality of the business, or of the communication. After time, I will develop connections with these links at my favorite local businesses, and these businesses can use analytics to determine if I'm a customer that merits that type of special treatment. So we allow only affluent individuals access, and we only allow high-end and highly rated businesses access. And we charge a membership for different features. Why? Because we don't aim to be an advertising network. We aim to be a communication network. And so our business model, while simple, ensures that businesses and members monitor their own conduct. And what business wouldn't want to have the warmest leads possible? What could businesses do with access to attract appearances, endorsements, or even pictures on the wall? This is a 21st century high roller bazaar. It's a gated community that can be open and closed virtually. It comes with rules of conduct that the affluent market is accustomed to. This is a place to have all of your connections stored in financially advantageous ways. It's kind of like a Rolodex that changes based on your location. So why only use black cards and concierge service? Why couldn't a wealthy person be rewarded just for being around? And why couldn't a business capitalize on that financial presence? So thank you for listening. I mean, we're a very infant company right now. We're looking for a lot of feedback. At this point, we continue our prototype development and look forward to developing stronger relationships with partnering interests. We welcome any feedback, any criticism you may have, as well as any proposals, advisement, and or investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up the next finalist, Troy Rushton from Domain Spike.
Good afternoon, DomainFest. How you going? My name is Troy Rushton. I'm from Sydney, so that's an Aussie accent you can hear. It's my pleasure to be here to talk with you guys today. I appreciate the opportunity, and good afternoon to the panel as well. I'm the CEO and founder of Domain Spike. We're a technology-based company out of Sydney, Australia. We've been developing a platform over the last couple of years based on 5 years of experience we've had in the internet marketing and technology development space. The platform we've developed, called Parklink, some of you may be aware of that platform, aims at giving domain owners an improved ROI on their domain investment by creating hyper-niche communities at the domain level through intent at the keyword. So we surround the content of a domain, we extract the keyword from the domain name, and then we basically build a hyper-niche community at that level. We use keyword data to understand how to generate the most productive website for that keyword so we understand the intent. Again, if it's a local site or a product site, we bring in maps or products, whatever it might be, so it's most relevant for the consumer who lands on that site. Over the last 12 months, we've profiled more than 120 million keywords. Oh, sorry, we've cracked it, there we go. Over the last 12 months, we've profiled more than 120 million keywords. We've created multi-monetization channels, so not just CPC, we've also got CPA, CPL, lead generation, email marketing. We've developed technology that generates unique and dynamic websites on the fly based on a single keyword. We've launched more than 180,000 websites with this hyper-niche community strategy, and we've generated traffic from more than 200 different countries. So as you heard yesterday from Eli, no longer is the US just the centre for traffic. There's obviously a far broader universe out there, and I say that with respect to the US, but there's a lot of traffic out there that you guys could take advantage of. In terms of results, over the last 12 months, we've increased page views, average page views per visitor from 1 to 3.5. We've increased time on site to over 4 minutes, and we've reduced bounce rates from 99% to 62%. And those that follow Google's algorithms will know that sustainability is a key success for staying and getting indexed in Google, obviously to keep that traffic flowing. So I agree with what Peter said yesterday. To date, we haven't really found a great mass development solution that works. We think principally because mass development has failed to create engagement. If you look at some of the best sites on the planet, from Facebook to eBay, one of the key characteristics we think each of those sites have is engagement. We see that as engagement being driven by relevance, involvement and intention. And I think mass development to date, including the first version of our platform, really fails to create engagement. Therefore, sites underperform, domains underperform. Our challenge over the last 12 months, therefore, has been to develop a technology-based solution that engages visitors on scale, without significant development cost to the domain owner. After much learning, bumps and late nights and R&D, we believe we now have arrived at a point where we have a sustainable development model that delivers positive ROI for the domain owner and visitor value simultaneously. So how have we achieved this? We've added participation elements on site. So things like email capture and likes and social interactions. You heard the previous session talk about social. We've structured sites in the most relevant word for the keyword. So again, if it's a local geo site, our technology detects it's a geo site and will therefore put maps and local businesses on it. We've created membership opportunities. People can join the site and become contributors to this hyper niche community. So again, if they're interested in red vases, they'll land on red vases because they'll find the site in the indexes or from social platforms. They can then join that community at red vases level. And then that can be a community globally. It's not just about in the US. So we've aggregated the best of content at the rich keyword level to ensure we understand deep understanding of the keywords. We've added things like offers and deal of the day and auctions from eBay and Amazon. So there's an element of e-commerce platform there, which is again less reliance on CPC. Ultimately, we've combined the best of syndicated content and a unique content model as well, which also helps us attract traffic from social engines and search engines. So we believe viability is all about crowdsourcing. A lot of powerful sites have been powered by the crowd. Wikipedia, for example, or eBay. Some of the, or even Craigslist as mentioned earlier, there's a lot of sites out there. Once you get that engagement, it opens up the communication opportunities for more monetization. So again, as a domain owner, you're looking to increase the value of your site and the revenue you can generate on your site through engagement. We believe that's the path. Some groups, niche groups are popping up all the time, and you can see here on Facebook, just go to Facebook yourself. Is that it? Heavy metal lovers, for example. Okay, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Thanks, Troy. Okay, while the judges are finishing up, scoring Troy and Domain Spike, let's go ahead and bring up the next finalist, Brian McKelvey from Warliz Inc.
Hi, I'm Brian McKelvey, the CEO and co-founder of Woralize. What is Woralize? Woralize allows you to use any image to create your own online virtual world to interact with family and friends. Meet Sonia. Sonia lives in Southern California with her husband and 4 children. She has friends and family across the country. She has parents in New York, a brother in Connecticut, friends in Minnesota and Texas, but she doesn't get to see them very often. So she creates herself an avatar in her online world. Since you can use any photo, she decided to use a photo of herself. She cut it out and uploaded it to Woralize. She created a fantasy-themed world and added objects to decorate it. You can use any object, any image you want to upload into Woralize as an object to decorate your world. She wanted to share a video of her kids singing at the latest Christmas performance with her parents, so she used Facebook to send them an invitation to join, and they accepted. So they entered her virtual world and chose some fantasy avatars for themselves. They entered the treehouse by clicking on the front door. Sonia used the embedded YouTube player to share the video. Since the YouTube player inside Woralize is synchronized for every user in the room, they all can watch it together and interact in real time. Her brother Mark has his own world, so she used Twitter to send him a friend request. Once he accepts, she can instantly transport herself to his world. Mark is a 2D mixed media artist and has a particular affinity for steampunk, so he made himself a steampunk world. Normally, 3D virtual worlds require their users to master complex 3D graphics software like Maya and 3D Studio Max. That's a high bar for content creation for users. So with Woralize, any user can upload any image to create any virtual world they want. And of course, 3D art works just as well as anything else. They decided to revisit childhood by playing a game of checkers together. Mark was able to use the building blocks available to him in Woralize to build the game, and they were able to play together. Sonia's friend Jenny from Texas is tired of harvesting the same crops over and over in Farmville. Really what she enjoyed about Farmville was designing her farm, creating, a cool looking farm using all the unique elements available in the world, in the marketplace on Farmville. And the drudgery is not so much. So they decided to dispense with that and build their own farm together in Woralize. They can collaboratively design and build the farm, each user contributing their own unique elements and images to make up the world. Their first barn's a little ratty, and Jenny wants a new one, so she opens up the Whirleyes Marketplace, finds the perfect barn, clicks on Buy, and drops it in. The Whirleyes Marketplace allows users to find content that was created professionally and add it to their virtual worlds. And soon they'll be able to create their own content, add it to the marketplace, and sell it to other users as well. Sonia's friends from Minnesota remembered her birthday and decided to throw her a party. They used the integrated gifts functionality to create and send her specialized objects, avatars, and backgrounds just for her world as a birthday present. Whirleyes brings together real-time instant messaging, online video, and your social graph to deliver a new experience more engaging than ever. It's the intersection between online games and social networks, two of the fastest-growing market segments on the internet today. According to Nielsen NetView, 22.7% of time spent on the internet was spent on social networks, and 10.2% of that time was spent playing online games. So it's an exciting time to be working in this space. We anticipate building a strong marketplace. The social gaming industry is currently valued at $639 million and forecast to be worth up to $1.5 billion by 2014. So we're poised to take on the hottest social games and offer a new level of creativity to users that hasn't been available before. I'm the Turtle 32. Come find me on Whirleyes. Thanks.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, we have 3 more finalists. Stefan Roble from SmartVark, if you could please come on up.
Thank you. Okay, I'm Stefan Roble from SmartVark, and we're a local deal site that's designed to help you discover stores and restaurants in your local area. We're based right next door in Venice. We have a team of 3 at present, and also our mascot, Artie the Aardvark. We're currently beta testing the site, and we're lining up deals in LA for our launch this spring. So let me show you in one picture the state of the local deals market. I'll explain. So you've got Groupon and Living Social and all these other knockoffs that are jumping on this one deal a day fits all bandwagon. You sign up for each of their email lists, you get a bunch of emails every day with a different deal, and maybe once or twice a month, they're actually deals that are relevant to you. It's overload, and it makes you want to scream, hey, I'm a person, not an email address. The problem is that they're just using push communication. They push the deals out to you, and they don't take any feedback from you as an individual on whether you like what they're sending you. They just care on the aggregate, are they selling a lot of deals or not? What we're doing that's different from this is we're listening to each individual's preferences, opening up a two-way communication channel, getting to know what your individual tastes are, and showing you only deals that are relevant to those tastes. So how does this work? If you've ever used Pandora Radio, you should have no trouble using our site. We show you a selection of deals from your local area. You tell us whether you like them or not. We show you some more deals based on those ratings that are hopefully closer to what you're interested in. The more deals you rate, the better we get to know your tastes, and the more relevant the site becomes to you. You can access the site from your computer or your smartphone browser. You get the same experience from both. If there's a coupon, you can redeem it by either printing it or showing your smartphone screen. And it doesn't cost you anything. We don't charge upfront for deals. They work like traditional coupons. We also, beyond coupons, offer other types of deals like sales that are going on at stores or happy hours. And we're targeting 18 to 35-year-olds in the LA area at present, and then planning on expanding nationally at a later point. So while we clearly feel there's a lot of benefit for the users. We think there's even greater benefit for the businesses who are our paying customers. We've spoken to a lot of businesses here in the LA area, and we found that what they're really aiming for with offering promotions is repeat customers. They could really care less about the surge of traffic that they get when they offer a daily deal. They're usually losing money on those customers, actually. And the problem that we've heard over and over again is that Groupon and Valpak and local newspapers don't give them any guarantee or even feedback as to whether they're getting repeat customers. It's all up to them to try to convert those people into repeat customers. So what we're trying to do is create long-term engagement with the customers. We don't just want to run one big deal and then throw you to the curb. We're interested in giving you a long-term strategy in terms of bringing people back into your business. So as I mentioned, we're able to target people based on their preferences that they've shown us by rating deals. We can also look for non-obvious trends, correlations in the data, things like perhaps people who shop at high-end boutiques on Melrose also eat a lot of sushi, and we're able to target deals based on those trends. And we're able to segment the population, and so we can say anybody who hasn't been to our business before gets a coupon to try to get them in the door the first time. But if they've already seen the coupon, then we're going to send them a reminder of our weekly happy hour to get them to come back again. So as I mentioned, businesses are paying customers. We charge them a monthly fee to be on the site and then a fee per deal that they place. And just in closing, we feel that our real value is in being a matchmaker between businesses and the consumers who really love the business, not just the deal. If you'd like to know more, talk to me afterwards, or you can email me. And if you'd like to know when we're launching in your area, go to smartvark.com and sign up. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Okay, we're down to our final two. Next, I'd like to bring up Enrico Schaefer from Verdio.net.
Thank you. And I want to start out by saying that I am a lawyer that specializes in internet law, and so you might question what I'm doing up here. We do more business off of the internet as a law firm than perhaps any other law firm in the world, bar some personal injury firms that do this as well. The reason why we do more business than any other firm in the world is because we have more A-plus content about the issues that matter to us most than any other law firm in the world. We are the Wikipedia about what we do times 100. And we return a tremendous number of search returns every single day that translate into clients on issues that matter to us. So what if Google said that your website was #1? Because I know that's what I wanted when I started my business, Traverse Legal. You ask anybody, is there a lot of content on the internet? They'll tell you yes, until you ask them to do a Google search on just about anything and look at the junk that comes back on page 1, let alone page 10, let alone page 100. That's because there is very little of the world's knowledge online. Verdio's mission is to make the knowledge of experts within niche categories available online. And the way it does it is by playing right to the algorithm. Many people will tell you it's too hard. It's too hard to SEO your website. It's too hard to get A-plus content, copywriters and blogging and the rest. Verdio's here to tell you that you can do this. A-plus original content plus a great keyword domain, if you have it, can result in page 1 search results. So what is Verdio? Think of podcasting on steroids transcribed. It is internet radio transcribed through a back-end system that we spent 2 years developing. Jason, if you can click on the Verdio.net back-end and go ahead and log in. So we've been around for a couple years now. We just completed our beta. We're fully operational. We've used Verdio for our purposes as a law firm to drive A-plus content across our areas. Jason, if you're able to log in, great. Okay, great. So he's going to do that. So what we do is we run a very large number of radio brands, internet law radio, trademark law radio, etc. We use Verdio to deliver that system. Verdio provides the radio show host, the scheduling, the transcription, and the SEO-based widget for publication directly on your website. YouTube and Blog Talk Radio, they're all about YouTube and Blog Talk Radio. Everything links back to them. Think of Verdio as a delivery system that points everything to you, that's white labeled to you. So we spent 2 years user management on Salesforce, on transcriptionists, on all the various aspects of the delivery system, allowing sponsorships within your system. Let's go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint and let's show you what it looks like in action. Go ahead and click on Void UDRP Transfer Order. That's an important search term to us. We make a lot of money off that search term. You'll note on this particular search term, if you'll click on the very top link there, that's one example of one of the hundreds of shows that we've done. Scroll down, you'll see this is a show that was done through Verdio. There's the widget that launches the player, and there's the aha moment. We transcribe that knowledge so Google can see it. So it actually shows up as a long tail search, as a short tail search. Go ahead and scroll back up, Jason, and click on the play button within the widget. Notice the widget is a text-based widget. It's not Flash. Google can see that too. Everything within that widget is fully customizable, including your sponsor anchor text and your sponsor links. You'll see that the interviews, if you go to verdio.net, are professionally engineered and developed and hosted. So let's go ahead and click out of that, Jason. Let's go back to the presentation. So it's all about content, and Verdio delivers A+ original content. You can interview the top experts in the world within your niche content area and dominate. Verdio, we call it voice content optimization, bringing the world's knowledge online. Just think if we interviewed these gentlemen over the next 2 months about issues concerning venture capital, how much knowledge would that be? Verdio would call them up, 15-minute interview, transcribe it, and publish it on your site. If you were interested in that particular issue, you would be all set. The ask here is that we've got 2 years in development. We're looking for $500,000 to launch the company. That includes a CEO, because I'm just an internet lawyer. I'm not running this company. I've been doing it for a couple years, and it's now time to go ahead and launch it to the market. We're looking for partnerships with companies that are interested in dominating their content area. What is the niche issue that you're interested in most? Verdio can deliver.
Thank you, Enrico. Okay, we are down to our last finalist. So can we please have David Clements from ePayments come on up.
Hi, I'm David Clements. I wanted to talk to you briefly about ePayments.com and the ePayments concept I came up with when I bought the name. The contact information is below if you've got any questions or wanted to shoot me an email. I've left it on several of the slides. The bottom line is that the proposal is simply another method of sending money by simply sending somebody a text message. If it's as simple as that, works on all phones. Using your smartphone to send the text message and sending money. The story basically would work like this. You know, if Omar and I were to take a group of people out to an after party and it costs $2 grand, even if the place is busy, I give him a credit card, he can pull out his phone, send me a text, send David 1,000, send it, and it's done. It's already funded, it's in my account. It's a pretty simple process. The viability, this slide's going to take a little bit too long, but it's really just a change in the way people use money. 10 years ago, everyone took checkbooks to the grocery store, and nobody these days even carries one around. I mean, I used to use hundreds a month, and now I think I write 5 or 6 checks a year. People have even left the credit cards. They're starting to really leave things out of their wallet as mobile commerce has really moved in. And you'll see some figures with PayPal that are pretty staggering when you start looking at the kind of volume of business that they're doing. The market environment, everybody texts. In the US alone, there are 5 billion text messages sent a day. It's the teens really that something like this is really going to take hold for, because 80% of them send an average of 100 texts a day, and they can 42% of teens can send text messages with their eyes closed. The explosion in that kind of market for this kind of opportunity is simple. You know, you've got some of the documented stuff. Gartner Research figured about 109 million mobile payment users were around in 2010 just in the US. That's only 2% of the market. The worldwide market for mobile payments is expected to be $630+ billion by 2014. It was almost a $70 billion market in 2009. Nokia predicts a PayPal level disruption. PayPal predicts that the mobile is going to redefine commerce, not just e-commerce. They're really thinking it's going to change the way people are doing things. You know, instead of your keys and your wallet and your phone being the things you put in your pocket, they're really thinking the next thing you might drop is the wallet. Nobody's going to leave their phone at home anymore. Why is the model compelling? I don't know if I've got time, so I'll just kind of tell you what that click-through video was. It's a video of somebody literally walking up to a Coke machine, using a text message to pay for a Coke, and it drops out. It's in euros. It's a modern commercial. I found it on YouTube on the way out here, 30,000 feet. But Coca-Cola was the first one to try this in '98 in Finland. They actually had some machines that did use this type of technology. So it isn't new, it's just the fact that things have really caught up modern behavior and the way people actually do text and do use their phones to do commerce, I think has really kind of made something like this a possibility. There are 4 target markets. Of course, your early adopters, after your innovators, 13.5% of the population. In the US alone, that's about, I'm having a tough time reading from an angle with these glasses, over 300 million. It's 42 million people in the US. The unbanked customer, and this is more a global than it is a US thing, but in countries in India, in the Philippines, in Kenya, there are $430 billion in transactions that are done outside of banking. That was a 2008 number. In 2009, the FDIC estimated 9 million US households didn't have a bank. Your 18 to 29-year-olds, and then of course your teens. Competition, it's not original. Google actually has a patent on a similar process that they've been sitting on until their Android really gets a market share. PayPal's trying it. Venmo's a company that got a little over $1 million in funding last year. The revenue potential kind of speaks to itself. PayPal is up went from 25 million transactions to 140. eBay now really relies on PayPal for their revenue, 40% of their revenue. For 3 consecutive quarters, PayPal grew over 40%. Thank you very much. I almost made it through the last slide.
Okay, well, that was our last PitchFest presentation, and I want to take a second to thank all of the finalists for their presentations. Okay, so what we're going to do now is the judges are going to finish scoring the last finalist. We're going to go ahead and collect the scorecard. Somebody's going to go in the back and add all those up. While we're waiting for that, we're going to do a couple of things. So one is we're going to have a chance to ask the panelists to share their top 3 tips for how to make an elevator pitch. And hopefully they can even reference some of the do's and don'ts from some of the presenters that were up here earlier today. And then we're going to open it up a little bit to Q&A. However, before we do that, I do want to share one thing with you. So if you enjoyed this kind of presentation and you're sitting in the audience and you have a bunch of great ideas, or you know people that have great ideas but want an audience to share them with, I want to tell you about the Tech Coast Angels Fast Pitch Contest, which is coming up on February 24th at Cohn Hall at the Anderson School of Management at UCLA. You can go to pitchtheangels.com and you can fill out an application there. And I believe the application deadline is on Friday. So you have a very limited amount of time, but if you're interested in doing that, I highly recommend it. And just so everybody knows, those pitches are 90 seconds. We gave everybody 5 minutes here. There are 90 seconds there. So, and no props. But you do actually, if you become one of the finalists, and I believe there's 10, that become finalists with 2 runners-up, you have a chance to get coached professionally by a couple members. Well, I think it's a large group of people will actually coach you on how to give your 90-minute pitch. So if anybody has any interest in doing that, I highly recommend it. Again, it's pitchtheangels.com. So while we do that, while they're out there scoring, what I would like to do is I'm going to go ahead and start with John here. But John, maybe you can give us some of your insights into winning tips and strategies for making an elevator pitch.
A lot of the audience that listens to a pitch, an elevator pitch, is trying to figure out, is this a vitamin or a painkiller? So the first thing you have to do is describe the product, so the person listening to the presentation quickly understands what it is. Many of the presenters today ended with lines that kind of summarized embody the whole word picture of what the product was, and that would have been a great way to open the presentation. So be really clear about the product and why do we care. Is it vitamin, kind of a feature, or is it really a product? And then the next thing is there a revenue model that's clear and understandable? That's really important, especially if you're looking for money. And then the most important thing that a venture capitalist or an angel is going to want to know about is, what's the size of the market? Is this a big market, or is this a really niche-y market that's going to have really difficult time scaling? So the size of the market, the ease of scaling, the clarity of the product description are really 3 really important things. And I would add, you didn't ask me for the 4th, but if you're asking for money and you're presenting in a serious way, what's the credibility of the founding team behind it? Why would this team be the right team? I can't tell you how many venture capitalists I've talked to that said, gee, I saw a great presentation the other day, just the wrong team. Really just they had a great idea, just didn't have any credible background that would give me confidence that they could execute. So the credibility of the founders, the expertise, what you did in the past, why we should take a second meeting. Because the only reason we're doing an elevator pitch is to get a meeting, not a check.
Okay, thanks, John. So a quick question for you, John. So when you talk about the credibility of the team making the pitch, are you looking more for people that have been there, done that, or they might have very relevant experience? Can you give me some specifics about that?
It's got to be more than just passion, and if there is some relevant experience, bring it out. It doesn't have to be 30 years, 25 years of business experience. That's not what but there is some expertise, and there's things that you've done that give credibility to the whole proposition, that you've tried it. You've got all kinds of points of validation that this is working based on the customers and users and beta tests that you've already experienced.
Mm-hmm. And you also talked a little bit about making the size of the opportunity known. How much numbers really do you want there? Or are you looking for more of a broad description?
Well, we're talking about an elevator pitch, so we can't get into a lot of numbers. Mm-hmm. But you need to convince the listener that this is really a big opportunity. Mm-hmm. I have really encountered a painkiller. I've got the credibility to execute it. I've got good points of validation, and boy, this is a big market. That's exciting. I'll take that next meeting. Why don't you come in, let's sit down and talk about it. That's really cool. Think if you're going in an elevator and you get off the floor and you say, do you want to talk about it anymore? No, that's fine. I didn't understand it the first time.
All right, John. Thank you very much. And Scott?
The 3 things that I came up with for me is to develop an elevator pitch without the props. If you can develop a pitch that is 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, even 5 minutes is a bit long, that you can deliver without having to show anything or do anything, you've got a winning proposition there. Adding the props later, the presentation, a demo, or whatever, is just icing on the cake. So I always, when I'm either coaching or mentoring startup businesses or small companies, say, develop the presentation just by you telling the story with words. Because in many of the cases, that's all you've got. I can tell you a personal experience where I had literally 3 minutes with Richard Branson from Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Group to talk to him about a business. I was on an airplane, no props, no time to get anything out of my briefcase, 3 minutes to give him the idea, as John was talking about, that he wanted to talk with me later. I wasn't selling him anything, that he would want to talk with me later. So I really encourage people. John and I are both involved with the Tech Coast Angels Fast Pitch Coaching, and I'm telling you, a minute and a half to get your business described is a real challenge, but if you can do it, and it is possible to do, because companies always do it, you've got a real winning proposition. So that's number one. Number two, in the pitch itself, those of you who may remember an animated movie a while back called Robots, right? And in Robots, there was a constant theme. The main character said, find a need, fill a need. Find a need, fill a need. And so what I encourage you to do, much to the point that John brought up about leading in with the tagline, with the value proposition, is to describe whether it's a vitamin or whether it's a painkiller, and tell what the need is and how you're going to fill it. And the last thing is, don't assume that everyone is as smart as you are. Generally speaking, they're not. You want to deliver a pitch, I always say, at a high school level, so that everyone in the audience, for the most part, can understand what you're saying. And then, if they are more sophisticated, if they do understand what you're talking about, in the follow-up meeting, you can elevate the level of discussion higher. But if you start too high, you get that deer caught in the headlights look, and you've already lost them. So you want to start low, work your way high.
Let me just, I can't agree with what he said more, but the kiss of death for a lot of entrepreneurs in a first meeting is, oh, let me show you the product. Let me give you a demo. That'll sell you. Don't ever go there. It never works, and the meeting closes a lot faster than you thought. You had a 30-minute meeting, and it's over in 15.
So I want to ask Scott and expand on one thing. You mentioned kind of target kind of a high school level, but you also said, be able to change your presentation depending on the sophistication of who you're presenting to. So if you start with a high school level, you have several scenarios in your head if you're really professional at this, and you know when to kind of kick it into the right gears.
That's exactly right. Okay. So you start out with a base level, assuming that they don't know what you're talking about. And then as the conversation progresses and you can see that they do know what you're talking about, you start ratcheting it up. But again, you only have a few minutes. So the goal is to make it so simple that when you're done with the presentation, the gentleman takes off or the woman takes off, and they go and make a phone call to their business development person and say, I just heard a very interesting idea. They can parrot it back without having to get all wrapped up in the complexities of a business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Scott. Andries?
Sure. So from originality, I'll probably get a 0 since I'm the third in line here, and I'm probably going to rehash a lot of topics, and I'm looking at a lot of bullet notes here, and it's keep it simple, keep it short, and so forth, which we've discussed. But I think that keeping it short and keeping it simple is very important. It's an elevator pitch, probably 20, 30 floors, and not an elevator to heaven. So if you can keep it to 1 or 2 minutes, I think it's super important. The most effective pitch, especially given 5 minutes where someone can walk off the stage after 2 and everyone understands the product, is way more effective than ending up halfway through your slides and trying to rush everything in at the very end and leaving people in a state of disarray, if you will. So I find that to be super important. Obviously pitching, I think at a high school level, maybe even a middle school level, is definitely very important. And then, to reference Stephen Covey, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I think understanding your audience and presenting them a solution to it is very important. To pitch someone a product that's not relevant to them or to a market that they're interested in, I think knowing who you're pitching your product to is very important. Some people are going to be very receptive to your product and some people aren't. There's going to be certain investors that are the right investors to be talking to, and other investors are not going to be interested regardless of how good your product is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks. And Jeff, what comments do you have?
Yeah, I think the I wrote this down for just about everyone. The big question I wrote down was, who are you? And what was your epiphany to kind of start this business? And the reason I said, who are you, is because I think when you answer that question, who you are, it gives you a lot more credibility when you're pitching the business. And that relates to domain expertise. And so an elevator pitch has to be quick, but you have to give yourself credibility within that pitch, and I have to capture my attention really quick. And in order to do that, a great way to do that is, what's your epiphany? Why'd you start the business? And then a couple of other things that the differentiation factor for me is huge, and I didn't hear that a lot in some of the pitches. And then how are you funding it? Are you bootstrapping it? Are you doing it with customers? Are you doing it with other people's money? And those are really the 4 things. I listen to a lot of 30-second phone calls, and if I'm not caught in for 30 seconds, I'm tuning out. So epiphany for me is a big one. I think if you listen to Bob Parsons' keynote speech yesterday again, each one of his 3 stories kind of went in with he started out with what was the epiphany of why he started that business, or what was the thing that caught him to do that. And I think it's a great way to tell a story. He had a lot longer time, but it works great in an elevator pitch.
And you mentioned a little bit about funding itself. You recommend, assuming you know your audience, you're making a good pitch, you can see that they're engaged. Do you ask the question at the end? Can I follow up? Do you wait for them to do it? What do you recommend?
I think one of the things that's unique about this conference is that as you compare it to other conferences, a lot of these businesses are being self-funded and bootstrapped, which I think is great. And that's a clear differentiator and an advantage for a lot of these entrepreneurs. And I think that's one of the things you really want to bring out in this presentation, because that gives you a lot more credibility. It also gives you a lot more leverage when raising money as well.
Okay. So we have a few minutes for questions. As you can see, we have a very experienced panel here, so take advantage of this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Alexander, and I have a question regarding, you said a 90 seconds pitch, or you want to get interested in 30 seconds. What is if you have an idea that is extremely complex, and you could explain it within 30 seconds, but then, you don't see the greatness in the idea, or you think, oh no, it's a second TV, we don't need that. So in other words, you would need kind of like 5 minutes to explain it because it's really complex or it's really unusual, and otherwise people wouldn't understand it.
Is it really elegant? Try to figure out what's elegant about the complexity, so you don't have to talk about the complexity, because the listener is not going to need the complexity. Customers don't buy your technology, they buy a solution that helps them. So I'm not interested in it's complex. And sometimes the complexity, I was with a CEO today that said sometimes we sell the technology of our solution, and the customer looks at us and says, that's so cool, but we're not there yet. We'll probably have to be prepared to take on that complexity in a year. And they go, wait, no, you don't. No, the problem is make it elegant and make it a solution for the customer, and keep the complexity to yourself.
And I would just add to that, I had a conversation, who Elon Musk is, and Elon, one of his businesses is SpaceX. And when you ask him to describe what is his business, he says, my job is to build a spaceship that will take cargo and people to the International Space Station. Now, everyone gets that, but the complexity behind that exercise is immense. It's huge. But from his perspective, when he's telling you that, you don't care about that. What you want to know is what is his end goal of what he's trying to develop. I would also add to it, this is very much, these pitches are very much like dating, right? You got about 30 seconds to impress the girl or the guy about who you are and what's going on, because if you blow it at that point, it's much harder to recover than if you win it in the first 30 seconds. If you get past the 30 seconds, you got another minute. If you get past the minute and a half, you got another 2. And that's kind of the game that you're continuing to play.
And complexity means risk.
Investors at the early stage are buying people, not products. They want to know who you are and why, if you came up, what credibility you have in the space to start it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's a great segue to my question, just because I really want the feedback. How much time would you have liked to see us as PitchFest enterers, exhibitors, or whatever you want to call us, spend on who we are? I mean, we could have spent time on who we are, but we really tried to get it to the elevator pitch. If we have
but believe me, 5 minutes is not an elevator pitch.
Right, no, I agree. But of 90 seconds, when I come to LA in a few weeks, how much time do you want me to spend of 90 seconds talking about me versus the idea?
10 seconds.
Thank you.
If you walk up and say, hi, my name is Bob, and I was an executive with Coca-Cola, and I'm here to talk to you about a new energy drink. You've just established your credibility, and you've told them that you know what you're talking about, and now you move on.
And great example. Great example.
If you, is there really no such thing as a second chance if you either have an immature idea or you just flub the entire elevator pitch? How do you re-engage with someone that you then have a better, clearer idea of what you're trying to pitch to them?
Boy, it's making that first impression is really key. Flubbing it and is hard to come back. We have a lot of people that come to the Angels, present, fail miserably, and they come. And the worst thing they can say 6 months later, "Hey, I fixed everything. I'm back." No, you're not. So it's really hard to recover. So practice, and oftentimes 5 minutes, like today's thing, is almost too long. Because you get a little chatty and you get a little off thing and you just kind of stumble around and it really doesn't come across as a real crisp, I know it, I'm passionate, and succinctly, very clear, coherent message, and we're done. Hey, what'd you think?
99.999% of businesses get funded because of references.
Great, thanks.
So I just want to expand on that. So on the reference side, is it more back channeling, or it's really back channeling because that's where you're going to get the true feedback?
Absolutely. And when you get a warm introduction, even if it's somebody you really vaguely know, it means you go immediately to the front of the pile, and you're going to listen more succinctly. It's just the way it is.
And you're dovetailing on the credibility of the person that made the reference.
And it's so simple to do. I mean, there's no excuses for not getting references in today's world. And
in answer to the question that was asked just a minute ago about second chances, I've flubbed it several times in my career, and the way that I managed in many cases to get back in was to go back to the references and say, look, I totally screwed that up. Here is what I meant to do or what I intended. If you're confident that I've got it right now, could you see if they'll give me a second chance? Again, I'm now riding on the coattails of that person, so you got to make really sure that you're ready for the second chance, because there almost never is a third. So that's another way to get back in.
Helpful.
I imagine that you all get bombarded with proposals and things all the time. How does someone actually get their information to you? Is it strictly through these little 90-second pitches, or do you does someone mail you a one-page or
with a
200-page proposal?
Graft and corruption work all the time.
You know, that's a really important question. We do get bombarded. It's very difficult at a conference. People will line up and say, "Here's my card," or "Here's my business plan." That's the worst time to do it. It would be much better. All of you have networks. All of you can figure out LinkedIn and things like that to figure out, can you introduce me to so-and-so? I'd like to make a presentation. I'd like to find the 5 most active angels and go see them individually and get their feedback before I go into a screening session and make a fool of myself. So get that kind of feedback is really important. It's a daunting challenge because entrepreneurship in Los Angeles is alive and well, and there's lots of entrepreneurs and only so many investors. And the investor community is getting smaller, not bigger.
I would also add, make sure you do your homework on the person you're pitching it to, right? My expertise, if you will, is in telecommunications, messaging, those sorts of platforms. If you come to me and you're a biotech firm, the chances that I'm even going to be interested at all are almost zero, right? So now that doesn't mean that you don't necessarily use a contact network to get to me, but it's not for you to pitch to me, it's for you to ask me, by the way, do you know anyone in the biotech world who might find this interesting? So make sure you do your homework on who you're pitching it to so that you're not wasting your time pitching me a biotech thing that I have virtually no interest in doing because I don't understand it.
You know, Jeff's point earlier about references is really, because when you go to the Tech Coast Angel or any angel group website, you have to post your investment opportunity for the benefit of the members to look at. And the first line is, how did you get here? Who introduced you to the group? And a blank there is not a good thing. And so it'd be nice to have some prior contact, because the person looking at that is going to call that person and said, "Hey, John, your name's on this. What was the connection? What do you think? And are you referring it?"
And a reference doesn't have to be your your wife, your friends, and your closest people. It can be somebody you just met at the conference who made that introduction and thinks it's interesting. So it's all about networking, really.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Well, terrific. Oh, please. This will be the last question, and then we'll move on to the winners.
My name is Peter Thornton, and I've always been a firm believer in scalable solutions and such, and I've always been afraid of venture capital, just because it seems like if there's something that's good to do, you could do it on a scalable level. Do you guys have a philosophy on scalable solutions, and do you run into people that actually, you go, why are you asking for money? That's a scalable.
No, I could not agree with your feelings. I would not lose them. If you can scale it and self-fund it, you don't need venture capital. Venture capital is not for everybody, and there are well-known VCs in town that say venture capital is kind of like rocket fuel, and it only goes in a certain types of vehicles. But if you've got scalable, self-funded ideas, God bless you, and keep doing them. Because you don't need angel money for that matter.
But do you run into people that actually come to you with something that is definitely scalable, and they're asking?
There's lots of entrepreneurs that feel that raising money is a rite of passage, and for no apparent reason. But entrepreneurs venture capitalists in today's economy, the venture funds are much smaller. They're investing much smaller amounts of money. The startups need much less money, cloud computing, open source software, all those things. Online marketing is just less expensive. So they're looking for scalability, capital efficiency, and credible teams. And obviously, you wouldn't even have that conversation if you didn't get there with a painkiller in a big market. But
So you're also looking for scalability.
oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. The worst thing you can do is run out of money and be a small fund. And raising new money because your first idea failed is not a nice place to be.
In many of the companies or startups that I mentor, I tell them, if you can raise your own money, friends, family, your own wallet, by all means do that until you can't do it anymore. Because it's very painful, aside from the fact that it's a long process, it's very painful to give up ownership of the company for venture funds or angel funds if you can do it yourself. There may come a time when you've raised all the money you can and your company's successful, and then raising money is not such a painful deal because you've already crossed over the threshold to where the risk profile is much more manageable. And now, it's like when you need a bank, you can't get one. When you don't need a bank, they're happy to lend you as much money as you want. Right. That's the position you want to be in. When you don't need the money, but they're willing to lend it to you at your terms so you can do new things with it.
But I would encourage all entrepreneurs to think about getting good advisors, a good team of trusted colleagues, other entrepreneurs or people that are knowledgeable about the startup world that can be a sounding board and help you hold yourself accountable so that you make good progress on your own business plan.
Okay, well, thank you. And one interesting point on that, if you remember yesterday's keynote with Bob Parsons, when he started his first company, he offered half of his company for $5,000. And the investor said no. 3 years later, he sold his business for $64 million and got to keep that entire paycheck. So that's another thing said. If you can do it on your own, like they're saying, there's a lot of incentive to do that. So, well, thank you, Jeff, Andries, Scott, and John on providing fantastic feedback. What we'd like to do now is a couple of things. So one is we are going to announce the People's Choice Award winner. And the way we're going to do that is if everybody would actually pull out their cell phone, you're going to have a chance we're going to go ahead and put here on the screen, you see the names of the companies up there. Go ahead and type in the text to the number that you see, and then go ahead and type the company of your choice and send that. You will see real time, somebody just voted for VARC, real time, this will pop up. We have literally 1 minute to place your votes. You can only vote one time, so please take advantage of voting for your preferred PitchFest finalist. It's live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a
We have
very...
2 voters.
We have a couple voters. Well,
3 votes.
More are coming in.
Oh my gosh. This is great.
Here they come.
Oh, I love it. I love it. This is unbelievable. I love it.
Okay, so we are going to give it just a few more seconds. And it looks like a close race between Zips, Paytext, Vertio. All right, I'm literally going to give it a few more seconds. Okay, I think we have a winner. Paytext. Can you please come on up? So, unlike the Oscars, you will not be able to thank everybody who helped you come up with the idea. But we do want to go ahead and give you the word, and we can grab a couple pictures. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Great job. Okay, well, thank you for everybody participating in that. And now we would like to announce the judges' winner. So again, thank you, judges, for your time. We really appreciate your feedback. And we are happy to announce SmartVark, Stefan Roble, as the winner for the PITCHfest Awards for 2011. Congratulations. Congratulations.